Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a puzzle that's been recommended to us many times that still has a 100% approval rating. That is not an easy thing to achieve, especially now there are sort of trolls on Logic Masters who deliberately downrate puzzles. It's by Dying Flutchman, whose puzzles I love, although I don't think I've done a Dying Flutchman puzzle for a few months at least, and it's called Yin Yang Sum Frame Sudoku. I have seen Sum Frame as a clue type before, but not for a long time. I seem to remember it was a staple of the World Sudoku Championship back in the day, perhaps still is. But this has got some yin yang rules overlaid with that, and apparently it is wonderful. I'm looking forward to trying it. And we'll read the rules together in a moment or two's time. Now, a couple of things to mention before we kick off. I must mention that yesterday we did something of a milestone puzzle on the channel. This one, 10 million views is the name of this Sudoku. It's by, of course, Ard van der Wetering, whose puzzle, which featured in a video of ours called A Sudoku with Only 4 Given Digits, has just ticked over 10 million views on YouTube. It's absolutely incredible. And it's a beautiful tribute to that first puzzle. So if you haven't had a look at that, please have a go at it. It's magnificent. It's got 4 given digits. It's got a magic square in the middle, just like that original puzzle did. So that's definitely worth checking out. I'll try and remember to put a link to yesterday's video on the screen. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. UK time, we're back in the Blueprints mansion, so we'd love to see you if you've got some time then, for the 29th time, I believe I'm right in saying. So we are very much enjoying the game. There's not many, can't be many computer games you revisit 29 times. I mean, obviously I did get addicted to StarCraft 2. That was before the channel even existed. But there aren't many games I must have come back to 29 times. Anyway, what else? Over on Patreon, we have a brand new competition coming on the 1st of February, made by the Skunk Works, and it is Duality 3. So look out for that. We've had Duality 1 and Duality 2 on Patreon as Sudoku Hunt rewards in the past, which have been incredibly popular. This one will be as well. So do get involved in that. And we've got a couple of new worm apps coming out in the coming days as well. But having said all that, I will turn my attention to birthdays. I have only got one birthday today, but I think it's a pretty special one. Matt, it's your birthday today. Matt apparently is also known as Jags. And Matt, the reason I know it's your birthday is I had an email, quite a moving email, frankly, from Dan. And Dan describes Matt as his surrogate father. They met apparently 6 years ago, when Dan says he was wandering through life hopelessly and without direction. Matt opened a Thai boxing gym, which Dan joined to help him out. And because of Matt, Dan says he now has a career, a healthy relationship, good friends and family, savings, and a lot of great memories. He wonders where the boy he would have been if he hadn't have met Matt and found such a strong male role model. And he wanted to let you know today, Matt, that he loves you very much and is incredibly grateful for everything that you've done to him or done for him. So, Matt, that's a pretty amazing message, I think. It sounds like you're a complete inspiration. And I hope, well, not just for that reason, but I hope you get some amazing chocolate cake today. I don't know where in the world you are, so I can't recommend people in your vicinity to come and join your Thai boxing gym. But yeah, I hope the chocolate cake today is magnificent and very heavily iced, of course. And yeah, with that, with that rather lovely message, why don't we turn our attention to hopefully a rather lovely Sudoku and have a look at Dying Flutchman's Yin Yang Sum Frame Sudoku. The rules, which there are a few rules to this one. The rules are as follows. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row. every column and every 3 by 3 box. Let me just check that the recording is working. It is. That is a good thing. Yin yang. Colour the grid using 2 colours such that all cells of the same colour are orthogonally connected and no 2 by 2 area is fully one colour. So my classic example of a possible yin-yang shading is this. This is a possible yin-yang shading. And I'll explain why in just a second. So imagine we coloured the grid and we achieved this colouring. Is this valid? The answer is yes, because you can trace through all of the green cells by moving to another green cell that shares an edge with a green cell. So that green area is orthogonally connected. If we were to make this cell green, now the green area is not orthogonally connected, because although this green cell here does touch the rest of the greens at a point, at a diagonal point, at a vertex, if you like, that is not sufficient for orthogonal connection. An orthogonal connection means a north, south, east or west connection. So that wouldn't be good enough. You can see the same is true for the purple area. And if we look at any 2 by 2 in this grid, you'll find both colours are present. So even there, both colours are present. So there is no 2 by 2 that's only one colour. And therefore that is a possible valid yin-yang shading. Somebody did once make a puzzle where that did turn out to be the shading. But anyway, I will be surprised if this one has that quality as well. But it could do. Now, some frame, it then says, outside clues, I don't know if I can click on them today. Outside clues give the sum of the first 3 digits seen from that direction. So those 3 digits sum to 18, those 3 to 6. In fact, that doesn't work immediately. Ugh. What the? Oh, right, I see. Sorry. Okay, well, it does say that in the instructions. Sorry, I could see these 6 cells couldn't possibly only sum to 13. But the reason for the discrepancy is that each sum frame clue only sees digits of one yin-yang colour, while digits of the other colour are completely meaningless for that clue. Which colour corresponds to each clue must be determined. Each clue sees at least 3 digits of its colour. Yeah, so sorry, why did I think there was a problem here? Well, if this 6 clue was counting the first 3 cells, and if this 7 clue was counting the first 3 cells, I know that 6 in 3 cells can only be 1, 2, 3, and I know 7 can only be 1, 2, 4. So that couldn't possibly be true from a Sudoku perspective. You'd have a lot of difficulty putting the digits 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 in that box. But the reason this works is that this 6 and this 7, say this 6 was purple and this 6 was green. You know, then the green might be counting those if those were purple. And the purple might be, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing about some way of making this work. In fact, that's not going to work from a yin-yang perspective. But no, in fact, that wouldn't also work. So yeah, you can see it's quite difficult actually to do this. But the point is that the purple is only counting the first 3 purples in the column, and the green is only counting the first 3 greens in the column. Gosh, this is actually a very interesting rule immediately. And I can immediately sense that I don't think I'm going to find it very easy. Anyway, there is one more rule. Note, you may place colours or labels outside the grid to assist your solve. These won't interfere with the solution checker. Colours or labels. I see. So that's why we can normally, or not normally, but quite often I'm not allowed to highlight these cells outside the grid or these numbers outside the grid, but I can today. And presumably that's because if I worked out that this was a purple clue, I could colour it purple and that would be useful. So I didn't think the colour purple film would make an appearance in today's video, but it has indeed. Good film. Anyway, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I'm going to start off with some secrets. I've had a few videos recently where I've started off with secrets, but as I was doing the examples there, I could see one reason it wouldn't work was that the yin-yang shading wouldn't work. Now, so perhaps the most important thing to know about the yin-yang shading is that there won't be any 2x2 in this puzzle that has that shading, a checkerboard shading. And the reason is this requirement that the greens in the end have to be orthogonally connected and the purples in the end have to be orthogonally connected. And if you sort of visualize any connection of these two purples such that they were orthogonally connected, it doesn't matter what sort of complicated route you do to achieve that connection. Can you see what's happened to green now? Is it now possible for the greens to be orthogonally connected? It's clearly not. This green is sort of in a puddle. It's been fenced in by a wall of purple. And if this purple had connected instead across the top, this green would have been fenced in by a wall of purple. So you can't have a checkerboard. Now, normally, well, there's an extrapolation from that rule that's very important in yin-yang puzzles, and that relates to the perimeter. So here are some secrets about the perimeter of a yin-yang. That is completely valid, i.e. we could well have a situation where the entire perimeter is one colour. We could have a situation where the entire perimeter has this sort of quality, it splits into two colours. But once we've done this, we can go no further. No further splits in the perimeter are possible. So if we said, for example, these two are purple, the puzzle is now broken. And this is related to that checkerboard principle, because what we have to remember is that these purples here somehow have to connect to the rest of the purples in the grid. And again, however we do that, is it now possible for these greens to connect? No, it's not. So we can have a perimeter that's one colour entirely. We can have a perimeter where there are two strings of colour, if you like, but any more strings than that are impossible because of the checkerboard requirement. So what does that mean in this puzzle, if anything? I get 3 given digits. So is it the 7 and the 6 then? Because that definitely did feel difficult straight away, didn't it? Well, this is clearly impossible straight away, actually. How on earth do you do column 1? What? So I have to... So this clue... Let's just make this purple. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's an arbitrary choice. 3 digits summing to 7 in this column are definitely the digits 1, 2 and 4. So somewhere in this column, the digits purple 1, 2 and 4 appear. But this clue, 3 digits adding to 6 must be 1, 2 and 3. Now, there's a commonality there, isn't there? The 1 and the 2, which are definitely purple from the 7's perspective, must also be purple from the 6's perspective. And they must be in the count. So... how does this work? Sorry. This is probably obvious to everybody else, and it's not obvious to me. So I've got... Well, I know that... Okay, so in this column... The 3 lowest purples are definitely... so the 3 lowest purples for this 6 to work are 3, which is going to be the lowest digit, then a 1, well, then a 1 or a 2, then a 1 or a 2. And the three highest purples are a 4, which is going to be high, and then a 1 and then a 2. But I have to do this such that I don't create too many gaps, because what effectively we're being told is that there are 4 purples in that column. There can't be any more, because the 3 highest add to 7, and the three highest, I mean by the 3 near the top, the 3 closest to the top add to 7, and the 3 closest to the bottom add to 6, and 2 of those are common. So there are only 4 purples in the column. And I'm wondering if they are split up, then the whole of the rest of the perimeter. Yeah, okay, I dimly see what's going on then. So I think in this column there are a run of 4 purple digits that go 4, a 1, 2 pair, and then a 3. Now, why do I think that? Because if there weren't, let's say that there was a 4 here, and then a gap, and then a 1, then a 2, and then a 3. Let's say that was the situation, and they were the purple cells in this column. Well, that's definitely impossible, because now I've got green here and green here, which means I've got more than 2 contiguous strings in the perimeter. So I cannot do that. But what would happen if instead of that I did this? No, that just doesn't work. Yeah, they have to be contiguous. It doesn't matter if you put them at the corner and then had 1, 2, 3 here. You've still, in this column... hang on. What if I did them like that? Oh, that's the 3 in the corner. That's not deserved. I'm not cheering for that or singing for it. What if those were green? Yeah, that also doesn't... does that not? No, that doesn't work. But that doesn't work for a different reason. Because in this version of the world, I have not broken the yin-yang perimeter rule. I've got a contiguous string of green in the perimeter, and I've got some purple. What I do know is I can't have any green anywhere else in the perimeter, so the entire rest of the perimeter would be purple, and that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Well, there may be many reasons it doesn't work, but it definitely doesn't work in row 1. Because in row 1, there's only purple, which means this 23 clue is counting the first 3 cells, and they're supposed to add up to 23, so they should be 6, 8, and 9, and they're clearly not. But more ridiculously, if you like, these 3 cells are meant to add up to 24, and they would have to be 7, 8, 9. And that also won't work. So, because 6, 8, 9 are over here. And so, yeah, so there's a similar principle going on in row 1 to what's going on in column 1. So in column 1, we've got very low digits in common between the 2 clues. And in row 1, we've got very high digits in common between the 2 clues. Okay, but what I don't know... Actually, I might just change tack again. I might change tack for a very weird reason here. And that's that I've noticed this 7. That feels very difficult. Do you mind? I think I'm slowly getting to this. But in this row, haven't I got a similar problem? Let's just make that purple for a moment. Then we're saying that there are some purple digits in this row. I think it's the same principle. I think we're going to have the 4 purples in this row are all going to be next to one another. Otherwise, there's a problem. And the problem is exactly analogous to the one we just described for these two. So there's somewhere in this row, there are 4 purples in a row. Now they are a 6, 8, 9 and a 7. So it's going to be something, whoopsie, it's going to be something like this. And the 7 has to be on the right-hand side because the 8 and 9 are common to this 23 clue and this 24 clue. So the 8 and 9 are common. So the 6 will be seen first from this direction in order that it doesn't contribute to the 24, and the 7 will be seen first from this direction in order that it does contribute to the 24 but doesn't contribute to the 26, given that there are only 4 purple digits in this row. There can't be more than 4 purple because the 8 and the 9 have to be common to this. They have to appear in the first 3 cells from the left direction and the first 3 cells from the right direction. Now I can see this 7 is stopping this run from being in any of those cells. So I think what I'm allowed to do... Oh, hang on, my OBS is flashing at me strangely. Is everything okay with it? I think it's all right. It still says it's recording. Oh goodness, I hope it's okay. But what that means is that these cells are actually green, definitely. The earliest that the 7, 8, 9, 6 string could happen would be here. But it can't happen here, can it? Because isn't that going to... Now I know that these cells are green. So this cell can't be green. Because if this cell's green, the whole perimeter round there is green, because we're just going to have some purples in here. But that's going to make all of column 1 green, where we know that's not the case, because that's going to make both of these clues green, and there are only meant to be 4 greens in this column, so that can't be true. So this is not green, that's definitely purple, and if that's definitely purple, that's the purple string. So that is how the logic has dictated row 1 must be, and I can fill in the digits. Now what I don't understand yet is how this relates to... So that's the row 1 logic combined a bit with the column 1 logic that we found. But now that must be green. Oh, do I like that or not? Well, it must be green because we know that the green is 1, 2, 4. It definitely doesn't include a 6. And this is definitely green because it must be the same as this colour in order that the 1 and the 2 are common to it. So, oh, hang on. So does that mean they're at the bottom? I think they have to be at the bottom then, don't they? Because there are only 4 greens in this column. If they were there, that would be purple, and then I'd have too many breaks in the perimeter. This is very clever, Dying Flutchman. Flying Dutchman. You got me with your spoonerism. Yeah, they're going to have to be here, the greens. Because if this cell was purple, given there's greens in here, then the greens are not contiguous in the perimeter. So that bottom cell is definitely purple. There are only 4 purples in that column, so that must look like this. And I can do the order. So this is 4, this is 3, and this is a 1, 2 pair. That's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. That's a genuine 3 for which we do sing. And now we can do the perimeter. So they've all got to be green by our earlier logic. These have all got to be purple. That's got to be green. Sorry, and those are to avoid 2x2s. I apologise if you're wondering why on earth or how on earth I knew those things. That's just practice with yin-yanging. So these are 5, 7, 8, 9. That might be worth recording actually, because we're going to have to work out what these colours are. Oh, yeah, I'm going to start here then. Oh no, or maybe here. Oh, hang on. Ah! Okay. Oh, I don't know where to start, but there are a few things I can see immediately now. Now we've done the perimeter, we might be able to do some trickeries, because look at the bottom row. Well, no, let's look at the 20 clue. 3 cells adding up to 20 in this row. Well, they can't include 1 or 2, because the other 2 digits would have to add up to 19 or 18. And given they're going to be different because they're in the same row, that's not going to work. The highest 2 Sudoku digits that are different could ever add up to is 17 if they were 8 and 9. So this clue is definitely purple, and that is contributing to that 20 clue. But perhaps this is more relevant. Look at the bottom row. I've got an 8 clue on this side, which is specifically those 3 cells, summing to 8. Don't involve a 3. They must therefore be 1, 2, 5. We looked a bit at that logic in that wonderful puzzle on Friday, didn't we? Which was by Mathpesto. On Mathpesto's birthday were lots of 8 cages that were either 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. So these 2 digits add up to 13. And they're not 6, 7, and they're not 5, 8, so they're 4, 9. There we go. That's another little bit of deduction. Now these squares are therefore 6, 7, 8 by Sudoku, and that's not an 8. Now, what does this mean? I don't know, but oh dear, dear, dear. No, this must be... Oh, I see. No, this just... That does work, doesn't it? I think these are a 1, 2, 3 triple by The Secret. Let's look at column 9, because maybe that's where I should have started. We've got entirely one colour. So I know for a fact that these 3 digits add up to 19, and I know for a fact that those 3 digits add up to 20. Now, there is a secret about Sudoku that's nothing to do with yin yang. It's something I share with only my very favourite people. But if you're watching this video, of course, you're one of my favourite people, and I'm going to tell you it. A whole column of any Sudoku, because it will contain the digits 1 to 9 once each, will sum to 45. That is the triangular number for 9. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 is 45. Well, if I know those are 19 and I know those are 20, that's 39, so these have to add up to 6. Well, the only way we can do that with different Sudoku digits is with a 1, 2, 3 triple. Now, I could already see this couldn't be a 1 or a 2 for the same reason that this couldn't be green. So this is going to have to be a 5. And these 2 digits add up to 15. So they're either 6, 9 or 7, 8. Well, they're actually, okay, they are 7, 8, aren't they? Because 7 in this column can't go in those 3 cells. So that's actually quite straightforward. So these digits are 4, 6 and 9. And 4, 6 and 9 do add up to 19. So that's great. So these clues are green and finished. Maybe we should have a way of telling when they're finished as well. Because it's one thing to colour them. Yeah, these are green and finished. But like this 20 clue, it is purple, but it's not finished. Okay, I'm going to do that. So ones that are definitely, I can't do any, I shouldn't look at them again. I will give them a grey flash. That I should give a grey flash. That I should give a grey flash. This one has not earned its grey flash. This one can't be purple because it would already be broken. So that must be green, not having a grey flash. That is a 1, 2, 3 triple. So this digit must be 1, 2 or 3. Because it's going to be 1, 2, 3 in green. So this digit is definitely not in that triple. But hang on. So I've got a 6, 7 pair in column 2. Isn't it the same point as in column 1 then? 3 digits adding to 7 are 1, 2, 4. 3 digits that add to 6 are 1, 2, 3. So 1 and 2 are in the same colour, which means that this is green. And that's rather important, because that means that this cell is not 9. That's got to be 4. That's got to be 9. That's got to be 3 now, because the 1 and the 2 are in common between the bottom 3 cells of green and the top 3 cells of green. So the 3 and the 4 are sort of sitting on the edges. There are exactly 2 more green cells in this column. And they are a 1 and a 2. And they're not that digit, because that can't be a 1 or a 2. So that's purple. Now, we've got to be a bit careful here. At least one of those has to be a 1 or a 2, otherwise those would both be purple, and that would be a 2 by 2 of purple. So it's not possible that these are both green. If this was green, one of these would be green, and this would be purple, and then by checkerboard that would be purple. And both of these would be a 1-2 pair. Oh, is it Sudoku? I hadn't thought of Sudoku. Let's just look at some Sudoku for a moment, in case that, because what are those digits? 1, 2, 4. Yeah, that's really useful. That's bizarre. This cell, by Sudoku of all things, that fair-weathered friend is now a green digit. And now, this is beautiful. It's beautiful, because now, look at the column and think about the colouring. So I'd spotted the possibility, or the need, to avoid 2 by 2s in purple. So there's only one more green in this column. If it was here, that would be double purple. That would be a naughty 2 by 2. So one of these is green, which means this is definitely purple. And now look at this. I've got to avoid a checkerboard there. So that's got to be purple to avoid the checkerboard. Now to avoid a 2 by 2, that's got to be green, and that is a 1 or a 2. And that is the column. I mean, not finished, but sort of finished. And that means we can grey that one and that one. Yeah, now we can do Sudoku, can't we? We've got a 9 here and an 8 here. This, oh look, there's loads going on. 8 and 9 can go into the grid. No. Well, what does this column need? It probably is worth pencil marking. I need low digits. Well, no, low and middly. 5, 6, 7, 8. No, not really low, actually, at all. But 5, 6, 7, 8. These are not 6. These are not 8. So there's definitely an 8 in this domino. There's definitely a 6 in that domino. Okay. Oh, I see. So this digit now is not purple, because those 2 digits are adding up to at least 14 immediately, and that will break that total. So that's definitely green. This cell can't be green, because it would be counting a 3 as its first digit, and the other 2 digits would have to sum to 18, but they would have to be different. That can't work, so that's purple. I think this cell might struggle to be purple then. Yeah, if this was purple, the first 2 digits contributing to purple would be a maximum of 7 plus 4, which is only 11. And that would require the third digit to be a 10, which is not good enough. So that's got to be green. That's got to be purple to avoid a 2 by 2. And now, what do we do with that? 7 and 5 can be placed, actually. Oh, well, that's not so great. The 7 being here. If the 5 had been here, then we'd have known it was 7 and 9 to complete the 21 clue. This being 7, it's got optionality. We need the other 2 digits to add up to 14. So they're either a 5-9 pair or a 6-8 pair. I love this puzzle. It is very, very cool indeed. Now, there's something weird going on in column 3 with these 2 massive numbers and massive numbers in the perimeter as well. That might be where we're meant to look next. Let me just see if I can see any more low-hanging fruit. Yeah, that's low-hanging. That's got to be purple. Because again, it's 3 cells summing to 8, so there's always going to be a 1. It's either going to be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. But that, right, I see. So look at row 8. Now, this is definitely purple because this is not small enough. Now that means what would happen if this digit was a 1? Then you couldn't put 1 in the 3 cells adding to 8. And 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 9, so that won't work. So that's got to be a 2, that's got to be a 1. We now know that the digits summing to 8 are not 1, 2, 5, they are 1, 3, 4. So that digit is a 3 or a 4, it can't be a 1. Okay. That might matter. Is there possibly any overlap between these 2 clues? If there was no overlap, there's only one way there can be no overlap. They'd have to be those 3 adding to 20 and those 3 adding to 8, which would mean 28, the other digits would add up to 17 to make the secret work for the row, and this would be a 2. And that doesn't, well, that's quite complicated, but that doesn't work. It's quite pretty. So what I was wondering is whether there's a common digit between the 3 cells that sum to 20 and the 3 cells that sum to 8. Actually, I might be wrong as well. I've just thought of a way I'm wrong there. What's this digit? That's 5 or 7. So there's a 5, 7, 8 triple in the row. So the rest of the row is 1, 3, 4, 6, 9. Where's the 6 in this row? Maybe I'm overcomplicating this. I think I might have still been able to make that proof work, but I might not need it. Because that's a 6 by Sudoku. That's definitely purple, because it can't be part of the 1, 3, 4 triple. Now that is definitely purple to avoid a 2 by 2, which means this is a 1, 3 or a 4, because it's definitely part of this clue. And now I can do my trick. So yeah, now I want to do my trick, and I'm going to do it. There, I've said it. Right, if in this row there's no overlap between the 20 and the 8, then 6 cells in this row are purple, and we now know exactly what they would be. That's the only way we can fill them, given that we've got 3 greens already. Now, those 3 greens in this world have to sum to 17 to make the secret work, because we've got 6 cells adding to 28, the whole row adds to 45. Now we've got a 2 here and a 6 there, that's 8, so this should be a 9. That's the only way the maths can work, and it's not a 9. I can't remember why it's not a 9, but it doesn't seem to be able to be. So this is wrong. And that means, well, it means many things. Did I make that? See, that's definitely purple, because it's not a 1. No, hang on, be careful. Be careful. No, don't talk absolute gibberish, Simon. Yeah, okay, so what we've just worked out from that, well, there's a few things, aren't there? So we know there's an overlap between the 3 digits that are adding to 20. So the overlap digit and the 3 digits that add to 8, which are 1, 3 and 4, well, it can't be an overlap of 1, because then the 2 digits that add up to 20 would have to be 19. So this must be a 1, otherwise the overlap digit would be a 1. So there's a 3 or a 4 as an overlap. Now if it's a 3, then this would have to be 8. And there would be a 9. Well, there's always a 9, isn't there? Maybe that's the point. Because there's going to be a purple 3 or 4. Oh, well, hang on. Where is the purple 3 or 4? Yeah, okay, this is how to do it. There's always in this 20 sum is always the digit 9. Because we're either adding a 3 or a 4 from the 8 sum in. So we've either got 2 digits adding to 17 or 2 digits adding to 16. So it's either going to be a 7 and a 9 or an 8 and a 9. So 9's included, and 9 in the row, therefore, must be there. And that must be purple. This must be the 3 or the 4 that's being shared by this 20 clue and this 8 clue. This clue now must be... well, that's definitely going to have to be green, because that is shared. And this digit is not 5. It depends what this digit is. I think this could still be 7 or 8. Oh, but that's a 7-8 pair now, so this is the 5 in the row. So that's not a 5, so that's a 7-8 pair, which means these don't include 7. So that's a 5-6 pair. It's really brilliant, this. Now, this purple has to get out. Oh, goodness, that was a big old flash. I'm sure that's coming from OBS. Oh, well, let's work out. So that's 4152 into the recording. I need to check that the recording doesn't have any glitches in it, assuming it becomes a recording. I really hope it's not my computer starting to go wrong again. Right, these are 3, 4, and 9 by Sudoku. This clue is done, effectively. This clue is basically done. I mean, I'm not going to get any more information from the clue. I suppose I have to remember those 2 cells add up to 11, but I should be able to remember that. Now, I was going to say, well, oh, there's something weird going on in column 8 as well, isn't there? With this 18 and 19. I was going to say this can't be green, but then I thought maybe it could be. If this was a 2, and there was an 8 and a 9 available to green, then that might be okay. There's definitely something going on in column 8. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it as clearly as I'd like to. There's definitely an 8 in one of those cells. Do I know more about column 3 now? Because I've got this going on. I've got 18 here. Can that really be? If that was green, that 18 would have to... that's beautiful. That is a really, really nice way to look at this column, I think. I don't think that the 18 can be green. Now, this is a bit subtle, but let's think about the ways we can get to 18 in 3 different digits. If we can use the 9, there's a myriad of ways. If we can use... well, we can't use the 8 if this is green, can we? That's not going to work, because this 8 is purple. So the only way of doing it, if this 9 is not available, the only way left is a 5, 6, 7 triple. So we'd have to have 5, 6, and 7 as green in this column as the first 3 greens. But this is none of those. This is not 5, 6, or 7. So if you try to do it with smaller numbers, so it's saying, okay, it doesn't have 9 and 8 in it, and it doesn't have... the only way left is 5, 6, 7. 6, 5, 4 only adds up to 15. It's not enough. So we have to use the 9. If we make this green, we have to use the 9, which is that cell. But that means this, and this are the digits that add up to 18. And you might say, well, that's possible, Simon. I suppose it is. If that's a 4, and that's a 5, and that's a 9, that would give us the 18 we're looking for. But that makes the whole of these cells all purple. And we'd have 2 by 2s aplenty in this column. That will not work. So this clue is definitely purple. And it's counting this 8. And so this can't be a 2, because if this was a 2, the third digit would also be another 8 to make the maths work. So this is a 1. Well, it can't be a 1, because if it's a 1, the third purple digit is meant to be a 9. So that's got to be a 4. And there's going to be a 6, I was going to say. Oh, is that? Well, this is an important yin-yang point, because that 6 now here has to be purple to complete the count for the 18, but all those therefore have to be green. And the yin-yang hasn't broken there, which is good. And we've got to avoid a checkerboard here, so let's do that. We've got to avoid a 2 by 2 there, so let's do that. We've got to make a purple there to get this purple out. And I think what we're going to be able to do now, that's going to be a grey digit. We're going to be able to work this out. Well, it's clearly we're not adding the purples up, because there are only 3 and we know they add up to 18. So that's got to be a green. It's 9 plus 5, which is 14. So this is a 3, just to make the maths work. That's not therefore a 3 anymore. And the rest of this column is 1, 2, 7, which I suppose makes sense in box 4, look. Okay, but that clue is now done. So maybe that 14 clue next. I'm not sure. The 14 clue, the 14 clue is next, because it can't be purple. If it was purple, it would be those 3 digits. Now this is massive. So this would have to be 7, 6, 1. It's the only way you could make it work. You can't make 8 and 6 work, because this would be a 0. And the 1 has already appeared in green. So that is green, which means this digit is part of a 13 sum. And that 13 sum is not 6, 7. No, we're not doing any rhymes there. So we need 5, 8 or 4, 9. So it could be 4. It could be 5 or... Oh, it can't be 8, actually. So it's 4 or 5 here. Maybe that could be green. I mean, it is green, but maybe that's part of... Oh, hang on. No, this could be 9. That's getting very, very tricky. So I think either this is 4 and this is a green 9. I'm desperately trying to see if there's a reason that doesn't work, and I'm failing to see it. Or this is a 5 and then I need an 8 in green, and I've got a 7, 8 pair, so this would be green and then both of those would be purple. And that... I don't think that does break the yin-yang. Right, so I don't think I know, I'm afraid. 2, 3, these digits are from 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm actually going to label them. That's not a 7, because of this little 7 at the top of the grid. I could really easily be neglecting so much Sudoku here. In fact, look, that's a 4. I didn't see that. So what do I need in the rest of row 1? 1, 2, 3 and 5. Okay, so that's definitely not a 1. Okay, that I don't think that's doing anything terribly profound. Famous last words. Okay, I don't... this is not finished. I can't claim that. That 13 is not really started yet. It includes this digit. And then 2 more greens in the row. I don't know if that one's possible, but it could be. This 9 clue, can we say anything about that? Yeah. Yeah, we can actually. This clue is not purple. That's massive. That's a massive point. Oh my goodness, I hadn't even thought to look at this. That cannot be purple for quite a beautiful reason. Again, if this was purple, the problem with that is that these two cells are definitely green, and they take away two of the low digits, two of the digits 1, 2, and 3 from being capable of being included in the purple sum. And you cannot make 3 Sudoku digits only add up to 9 if you've only got access to one of the low digits, one of the digits 1, 2, and 3. The way to see that is to say, okay, I'll snatch the 1, that's the very lowest digit, and then I could have a 4 and a 5. That would be the best you'd do. 1 plus 4 plus 5 is 10. It's not enough, is it? Or it's too much, to be honest. So this has to be green, and it has to get at least one of these. Well, in fact, that now can't be 9. That's got to be 6. That's got to be 9. The 6 needs a 1 and a 2, so this is included in that count. So there's exactly 1 green in here, and there are 3 purples. And I thought the yin-yang might help us there, but is there some clever trick we can do? 3 purples, 1 green. So if that was... okay, that's not green, because all of those would be purple, and I'd have a checkerboard. So that's definitely purple. So now in these 3 cells, I've got 2 purples and 1 green. I feel like I should be able to do that, and I have no idea how to do it. If that was green, that would be double purple. If that was green, these would be double purple. And if that was green, these would be double purple. All of those things seem fine. Okay, so we don't get a grey there. I don't think we deserve one. 6 is in one of those 3 cells in this column. Oh dear, now I'm not sure what to do. It probably is column 8, isn't it? Which looks frankly terrifying. Okay, well, I think we're going to have to think this through. So, if these were in the same... No, I don't know. I don't know whether I'm meant to try and... I feel like they've got to be different colours. And I feel like it's almost impossible for this to be green. But maybe it would be so forcing that it is green, because it would force this to be 2. It would force there to be a 9 in here. And then if that was true, if that was green, say, using the 8 and the 9, how would this work? Could that be 1, 8, 9 in the column? Oh, see, that's a horrendous thought, isn't it? That's probably what it is. Oh, right, so I definitely... There's more thinking to be done here, and I'm not sure... I'm just not sure how I'm meant to do that column now. There probably is a way to do it, but the logic isn't jumping out at me. So maybe we look somewhere else first? Is it possible it's Sudoku? 6 is in one of those 3 cells in row 3. 4 is in one of those 3 cells of row 2. Yeah. What do we say about the 14? Okay. Yeah, this cell has to be purple, because we said that the 14 is this cell plus some other cell that adds up to 13 with this cell, so it's definitely not that cell. So that green's got to get out. That's just not done enough, I don't think. Okay, what about if this was purple then? Maybe that's disprovable. That would then have to be 9, wouldn't it? Because 3 plus 4 is only 7, so we'd need a 12 in the column as a single cell entry. That's a nonsense. So if this is purple, then we've definitely got a 9 here. And then we're amalgamating the 9 either with 7, which would have to be in one of the... Oh, see, it did it again then. There was this flashing on my screen. It would either be there in these 3 cells, because it couldn't be in this because of this given 7, or it would be accompanied with a 6. And I do know the 6 is in one of these. So, I mean, I feel like this is more likely to be purple. What's that digit? We know that digit is not 1, 2, or 6, don't we? Because of the greens being 1, 2, 6. So in fact, that digit's really... it's not many things this can be. Is it 5 or 8? It's not 1, 2, 6 or 3 or 4. So it could be 5, I think. Can't be 6, 7. Can't be 9. 5 or 8 only. Wow, I mean, that feels like it's trying to tell me something. So if this was purple, this would also be 5 or 8. Is there a reason that doesn't work? Probably not. If the 18... I don't know. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure how to think about column 8. I do suspect it's where I'm meant to look. Oh, hang on, there's a 7 in these as well, I've just spotted. So if this was an 8, this would be a 6, 7 pair. I'd have 8, 6, 7 there. Some of which would presumably have to contribute to the 18 and the 19. I mean, if the 8 was here, then this 19 would have to be purple, because you couldn't put 9 in the column. Oh, hang on. Well, you couldn't put 9 in the column in green. Let's put it like that, if this was 8. It almost looks like it wants to be 8, though, doesn't it? It's sort of... Maybe there's a reason this can't be 8. Or have I done as much as I ought to have done with yin-yang? That's another question, isn't it? Or is there something else we can do? It might be colouring. What could we colour here? I was thinking of 1s and 2s for a moment, but that doesn't look terribly propitious. This, oh no, that's a 1. That is a 1 or a 2. This 8, is that doing something? 9. Threes and 4s. Oh, hang on, this 21 clue, is that coming into its own again? Oh, Yeah, that's doing sorry, look, let's go back and look at that 21 clue again. Because that needed an extra 14, which now is not 6, 8, it's 5, 9. And that digit is included in that. Oh, that's a 5 then. That's good. That's very good. Because 6, 8 is impossible. It's got to be 5, 9, and the 9 down there sees it. So that's a 5. That's therefore an 8 by Sudoku. Oh, so the 8 doesn't get placed in this cell, which is sort of where I wanted it to be. And I know there's a 9, which must be in one of those cells. Now I've got a 4, so this is a 4-9 pair. That's good. I don't know what the colours are. Oh, but hang on, I needed a... Oh, look, this row's done now. Yeah, so you have to do it in quite a careful order, because I don't think that clue was resolved when I was originally looking at it. It gets resolved once you get this as the 6, and then you have to remember to go back and look at it again. But now this is a 1 or a 2, and I know the colour of it. That's got to be green to contribute to the 9, which means that purple has to come out. This is now purple by dint of... Oh, and this is purple as well, because we need that 1 or 2 to be in the first 3 greens of the row. So that's purple, that's green. Oh, so that's the 9, because the 9 must contribute to the... It must be 7 plus 5 plus 9 equaling the 21. That's a 4. So this isn't a 4. This isn't a 5. These are not 5. 5 is definitely in one of those cells. 1, 2. This is 1, 2, or 3 by Sudoku. Oh, which is going to get interesting for that 18 clue, I think. This clue is done, so it becomes grey. This clue is done, so it becomes grey. And now it's... well... Now it's safer to look at this 19, isn't it? It can't possibly be green, because we'd need this to be 2 and green to be 8 and 9 in the column, and the 8 is purple. So this is purple. Therefore this is 9, because a 3-4 pair would need a 12. So this is not 9. Now this 4-5, which needed a green, it could have had green 9 up till now. Now it doesn't have green 9, so it's got to have 5, and it's got to have green 8, which must be here. So now this is definitely purple. The 8 and the 7 get resolved. This is no longer a 5. This 14 is now grey. And I think we'll be able to do more, maybe with the 19 or maybe with the 18 or the 10 clue I've never looked at, but probably one of these things will be helpful. Okay, let me just think about this for a second. What is the easy win, or is there even an easy win here? Don't know. Let's look at the 19 clue then. So the 19 clue needs a 7 or a 6 as the next purple digit in this column. And I have got 6 and 7 penciled into all of these, which is, I've got a 2-3 pair I've just noticed in column 6. Is that doing something? I've got no clues though outside the grid in columns 4, 5 or 6. It's probably not what we're meant to look at now. Okay, so if this 18 clue was green, that doesn't work. That's lovely. That's lovely. Because if it was green, it wouldn't have access to 8 and 9, and the only way of making 3 digits add up to 18 is 5, 6 and 7, which on the face of it is fine, but we've just said that this purple clue needs a 6 or a 7 to work. So we can't hypothecate both of them to green. So this is purple as well. So now this is not 2, because we'd have to go 8 to 8 again to make the 18. And oh no, well, okay, and because we know that there is a purple 6 or 7 before the 9, and that would be included in the 8 clue, so in other words, we can't go 8, 1, 9. That won't work. It would work mathematically for the 18 clue, but we know it will be wrong because there's a purple 6 or 7 in here getting in the way that should be counted if we want to do that. So this has to be 3. Which means, okay, that's 4, that's 3, that's 2, that's 4, that's 3. This is no longer 3, this is a 3. And hopefully this might do something really powerful. He says, okay, so this has become a 4, so we now need a 6. So the 6, oh, what do we need at the top? So we need a 7. Okay, so we need a 7 from the top's perspective and a 6 from the bottom's perspective. So the 6 can't go there and the 7 can't go here, because the 7 must come sort of higher in the column than the 6 does. Okay. Okay, so 6 in this row. Now, because 6 is locked into these 2 dominoes, we can ask where 6 is in row 4, maybe? Well, we can ask it. We don't know the answer. It's one of those cells. 7. 7 in row 6 is in one of these 2 cells. Oh dear. This hasn't worked, has it? Okay. Gosh, how that's really strange. So is it this? It can't be the 10 clue. There's so many ways of making 3 digits add to 10. Oh, yin yang? Ah, yin yang. I've not thought about yin yang for a few seconds. One of the cleverest things about this puzzle is you seem to have to think about all the rules in different ways at various times, which is, I think that's a very clever setting. I suspect if I was setting one of these puzzles, I would find that as I designed it, I was designing it more to be sort of, it's a yin-yang, and then at the back end it's a Sudoku. Whereas actually we've had to do quite a lot of Sudoku mixed in with the yin-yang here, mixed in with the some frame clues. So I do know there's at least 2 more purples in this column. But possibly 3. I don't see a yin-yang reason why there can't be all 3 in there. So which clues have I not given a grey? The 18, the 19, but we've been thinking about those. The 13, where this digit is counting, and some unknown number of other digits. Or if I misremember, I did. There were some clues, weren't there, where I was like, oh, I'll tick them off. And I'll remember, oh, there's a 1, 2, 5 triple in this column. Oh, there's a 1, 2 pair. Okay, so that gets me a 5 here. Right. So these digits are now a 4 and a something, a 4 and a 9. That would be good. Yeah, that would be good. I can do 9 in this column. So that's 9 and that's 4. That means that this is a 7-9 pair of all things, which is a surprise. So in this row, I need 1s, 2s, 5s, and 6s. So this digit is 1, 2, or 6. And this digit is 1. It's not 1 or 2, actually, because there's a 1, 2 pair in the column. So that's 5 or 6, which means that's a 5, 6 pair, which means this. So maybe it is to do with 1s and 2s. I don't know. But okay, but Sudoku was actually being relatively friendly there for a moment. Has that done more? It got me a 4 here. Is that a good thing? So yes, where's 4 in this row? It's only got one cell. It's got to be there. So maybe it is more Sudoku. 9 here is resolved. That's a 9. And that's a 9, and that's a 7. So this is a 6. This is an 8. This is a 7. Here we go. Come on. This is not a 6 anymore. In this column, we've got a 1-2 pair left. So these two digits are 6 and 8, and I can do those. That's 8, that's 6, so that's 6. So this column is finished. If I was to write a 5 in there, we couldn't deny it, could we? So that's a 6, that's a 5, and that's making this a 6, and I needed a 6 to make my purple, so that becomes grey. That becomes green to avoid a 2 by 2. And these digits are a 1, 2, 3 triple, but we've got so many 1s, 2s and 3s, surely, yeah, row 4, that's a 7 now because we've already had a 1, 2, 3 triple. I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple here as well, so this digit is the missing digit from the row, which I think is 7. So that's 7, and that had to be included in the 18 clue. So that's got to be purple, this has got to be green. Now this domino has to get out from a yin-yang. We've got to avoid a checkerboard here, so let's do that. That green has to get out. Okay, so we've done the 18. We can give that a grey tick, or a grey shading. The Grey Havens. Now, oh, well, I haven't put 5 in this column. Another flash from OBS. So the shading is getting resolved. Oh, okay, this has become little. And that one... well, okay, this, right, I know the colour of the 10. It's not purple, because it would, if it was purple, it would have to be a 712 triple, and that's definitely green. So this is definitely green. So the 13 and the 10 are both green. And I'm going to think about the 13 first. If this was a 1, I need 12 more in green, which would have to be a 4-8 pair, because 7-5 and 9-3 are not available. So those would be green, and the others would be purple. And apparently I'm meant to be able to work out whether that's impossible or not. Oh, well, that would be impossible, wouldn't it, of course? Because then the 10 clue would include the 4 and the 8. Oh, that's really rather lovely. That's lovely, isn't it? That's wrong. I mean, it must be wrong. I don't know how it works yet, but I cannot believe that can work. Let me just go through that again. What I'm saying is, if this is 1, I need 2 more digits that add up to 12, which can't use 9 or 7. So they have to be 8 and 4. We can see the positions, and everything else in that row would be purple. So now the 10 clue is very clearly counting this cell, and this cell, and definitely adds up to more than 10. So that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1. I don't yet know where this is going. Oh, we can still do more. 1 and 2. So this is a 2. So now I need 11 more. And what I'm suspecting is it might be a 3-8 here. Yeah, and then that could be 1-4-5 probably. That's what I think will happen. I don't know if that breaks the yin-yang. But let's think that through properly. So I need 2 digits that add to 11, which are definitely not 2-9 or 5-6 or 4-7. So they have to be 3-8. It's the only way of making the total work. So that 8 is indisputably green, and the 3 is either coming from here, which won't work because those two would both be purple, and the 10 clue wouldn't be right because it would have 3 and 8 as its first digits, or here. So that's 3, that's 2, that's 1, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. That is the solution, but we haven't done the shading. We know that is green. Now I've got to avoid 2x2s. The 13 doesn't tell us anything about these white cells because it's now finished. So it's the 10 clue, which must be, well, it can't count the 8, so it must use the 4 and 5. Both of those become green. That becomes purple. And hopefully there's a way of... Oh, avoid a checkerboard. So that's green. And then avoid a 2x2. Good grief. And then that gets grayed. And let's just double-click. And double-click the green. I think it looks beautiful, doesn't it? It looks like there's no 2x2 to me, and it looks orthogonally connected. That is a brilliant puzzle. Oh, hang on. Well done. Hope you had fun. I did. And don't forget to keep flutching. Okay. Rather than, yeah, keep dying. That would be bad. That's absolutely... Well, I mean, how could you not give that a 100% rating? It's fantastic. It's really interesting. Always something good available. Logic was very original. Beautiful and so well integrated, all the various pieces. Dying Flutchman, take a bow. It took me a while, but I got there in the end. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.